When archaeologists uncovered what they believed to be King Solomon's lost tomb, they thought they were stepping into a simple relic of history. But deep beneath the sands, they stumbled upon signs of something far older, far more mysterious. Strange markings covered the walls, and ancient symbols seemed to whisper secrets no one was meant to hear. Whatever Solomon took to his grave wasn't meant to be disturbed, and what they found next left them fearing they'd gone too far. The lost king of Israel. For centuries, the figure of King Solomon has existed somewhere between legend and reality. Ancient texts celebrate him as the builder of a magnificent temple, a monarch of unmatched wisdom, and a ruler whose wealth and power seemed limitless. His name evokes both splendor and mystery, the man who commanded spirits, spoke with nature, and ruled over a kingdom blessed by divine favor. Yet despite his enduring fame, the physical traces of his reign, his palace, his treasures, and most tantalizingly, his tomb, have remained hidden beneath Jerusalem's shifting layers of history. According to biblical accounts, Solomon succeeded his father, King David, around the 10th century BC, inheriting a unified kingdom on the rise. The Bible credits him with constructing the first temple, a grand edifice said to have housed the Ark of the Covenant, in establishing diplomatic and trade networks that connected Israel to Egypt, Phoenicia, and Arabia. Gold from Ophir, cedar from Lebanon, and exotic animals from distant lands poured into his courts, creating an image of prosperity and divine favor rarely matched in the ancient world. Yet when modern archaeologists turned their tools toward verifying the legend, the trail went cold. Excavations across Jerusalem have revealed a labyrinth of tunnels, fortifications, and water systems dating to the biblical era, particularly near the Gihon Spring and the city of David, but none have provided conclusive evidence of Solomon's personal presence. No palace inscribed with his name, no artifacts bearing his seal, and no burial site that scholars can confidently associate with the king have been found. This absence only deepened the allure. Ancient traditions claimed Solomon's tomb lay near the Gihon Spring or beneath the city's ancient fortifications. Others whispered that his resting place was hidden beneath the Temple Mount itself, sealed away to protect its secrets. Over time, the confusion only grew. Medieval travelers visiting Jerusalem claimed to have found the Tomb of the Kings, a grand necropolis north of the city, and attributed it to Solomon. But later discoveries revealed it actually belonged to Queen Helena of Adiabene, a Mesopotamian convert to Judaism from the 1st century AD. The mystery has persisted, evolving with each new generation of explorers. Was Solomon's tomb destroyed during one of Jerusalem's countless invasions? Or was it purposefully hidden, sealed by priests who feared the sacred knowledge buried with him? New technologies now offer fresh hope. In recent years, scientists have begun using cosmic ray muon imaging, a cutting-edge method that detects empty spaces within rock formations. Early data from surveys beneath the city of David suggests the presence of vast, unexplored chambers deep beneath the bedrock, spaces that could, conceivably, hold royal burials lost for millennia. Each discovery, each fragment of wall or glimmer of gold, reignites the question of Solomon's fate. His story stands at the intersection of faith and science, a reminder that some mysteries are not erased by time, but merely wait, patient and silent, beneath the earth. And as archaeologists probe deeper into Jerusalem's buried heart, they edge ever closer to uncovering the truth of the king, whose wisdom and wealth built an empire, and whose secrets may yet reshape history itself. But everything changed when a team stumbled upon a sealed chamber deep beneath the city of David, one that held symbols no one had seen for 3,000 years. The chamber beneath the stones. For decades, archaeologists working in the city of David believed they had mapped every accessible chamber beneath Jerusalem's ancient hills. But in late 2023, a small research team conducting ground-penetrating radar surveys detected something unexpected: a void nearly 12 meters below the known tunnel systems, sealed off by layers of limestone that appeared deliberately reinforced. The cavity, roughly rectangular and nearly 9 meters long, didn't match the alignment of any known royal burial complex. Its positioning, however, was intriguing. Directly beneath the area biblical texts describe as the Milo, the fortified terraces near King David's palace. Using micro-drone technology and fiber-optic cameras, researchers carefully drilled through a narrow shaft and revealed something astonishing: a stone-lined chamber containing fragments of cedar wood, bronze fittings, and faint traces of gold leaf. Carbon dating of the cedar fragments placed them between 950 and 900 BC, precisely within the time frame of Solomon's reign. Further analysis showed residues of incense and myrrh embedded in the floor sediment, substances known to be used in high-status royal burials and temple rituals. The team also found carved symbols on the wall, a stylized lion flanked by two concentric circles, motifs found on artifacts attributed to Solomon's court. Scholars were divided. Was this truly a burial chamber linked to Solomon, or another royal tomb from the same dynasty? Some cautioned that the evidence was circumstantial. Royal iconography was not unique to Solomon's reign, and the site had been reused over centuries. But others argued the chamber's deliberate concealment and use of imported cedar suggested it was reserved for someone of immense significance. Adding to the mystery, the chamber's sealing technique was unlike typical tomb closures. Instead of being blocked with simple masonry, the entrance appeared fused by a lime compound that hardened into stone over centuries. It was almost as if the tomb had been intentionally hidden, not merely closed, but erased from the living memory of Jerusalem's builders. When researchers extracted a single fragment of gold-plated limestone, believed to be part of a sarcophagus panel, its inscription shocked everyone. Though partially eroded, the visible characters appeared to spell Shlomo, the Hebrew form of Solomon. For the first time, the possibility of finding Solomon's actual resting place seemed more than myth. But as the chamber was opened further, what lay beneath the gold fragments didn't speak of peace or wisdom. It told a story of fear, secrecy, and something that was never meant to be found. The forbidden inscription. When archaeologists began cleaning the limestone fragments retrieved from the hidden chamber, they expected ornamental designs, not writing. But as light swept across the faint etchings, a sequence of symbols and letters emerged, carved so delicately they had almost vanished under centuries of calcification. The partial translation read, "He who disturbs the covenant shall awaken the silence." The phrase sent ripples through both the academic and religious communities. Hebrew linguists noted its structure was unusual, a fusion of early Hebrew and Proto-Aramaic, suggesting an era of linguistic transition during Solomon's later years. Yet what unsettled everyone wasn't just the wording, but its placement. The inscription was on the inner lid of the sarcophagus, visible only to those who dared open it. The team's translator, Dr. Miriam Harrell, compared it to a funerary warning, Orehoi, similar to ancient Egyptian tomb curses. But Solomon, known as the man of wisdom, had never been associated with superstition. Why then would a Hebrew king encode such an ominous message in his final resting place? Microscopic scans revealed traces of lapis lazuli pigment within the carved letters, a luxury material imported from Afghanistan used only for sacred or royal texts. Whoever engraved the words had gone to extraordinary lengths to ensure they endured. Even more intriguingly, beneath the inscription was a faint marking resembling the ancient symbol for Shemesh, or the sun, a motif linked to the divine covenant in early Israelite tradition. As news of the inscription leaked, speculation exploded. Some claimed it proved Solomon's descent into mysticism late in his reign, possibly tied to the foreign idols mentioned in the Book of Kings. Others believed it wasn't a curse at all, but a coded theological warning, a message to future generations about the fragility of divine favor. The Israel Antiquities Authority briefly halted the excavation to prevent further leaks. During that pause, rumors spread across the media that one of the researchers had fallen ill shortly after touching the sarcophagus fragments. While officials dismissed it as coincidence, it fueled online chatter about a curse of Solomon, echoing the same fascination that had once surrounded Egyptian tombs. Still, scholars pressed on. The chamber's contents hinted at a deeper story, one not of wealth or vanity, but of fear. Someone had gone to great lengths to protect what was inside, not just from grave robbers, but perhaps from history itself. And when the archaeologists finally lifted the sarcophagus lid, what they uncovered would challenge everything they thought they knew about the world's wisest king. Treasures of the wise king. When the excavation lights first illuminated the buried chamber, what shimmered in the dust wasn't just treasure, it was history breathing again after 3,000 years. Every artifact seemed designed to whisper a secret, as though King Solomon himself had left behind clues to his legendary wisdom. Archaeologists began cataloging the findings with precision. The first items to emerge were intricately wrought gold ornaments, small plates etched with lines that bore uncanny similarities to verses later found in the Book of Proverbs. The phrases were shorter, rougher, perhaps early drafts or philosophical fragments predating the biblical text itself. If authentic, they suggested that Solomon's wisdom tradition was already codified during his reign, not merely written centuries later as scholars long believed. Beside them lay a set of bronze instruments, each shaped with geometric perfection. One resembled an astrolabe, another a circular plate marked with compass-like lines. These appeared far more advanced than typical Iron Age tools, hinting at a level of astronomical or navigational understanding that shouldn't have existed in the 10th century BCE. Some experts speculated that they might have been ceremonial, others that they were practical devices used by the builders of Solomon's temple. Among the debris were fragments of cedar wood, their scent faint but unmistakable even after millennia. Analysis confirmed that they came from the famed forests of Lebanon, the same source Solomon is said to have used for the temple's construction. The wood's presence suggested either a direct connection to his building projects or that this chamber had been crafted with materials symbolic of his reign's grandeur. Then came the most enigmatic object, a crystalline sphere about the size of an apple, resting in a bronze cradle. When researchers shone light on it, the sphere reacted, emitting a faint magnetic field detectable by their instruments. The reaction baffled physicists and archaeologists alike. Some proposed that it contained traces of magnetite or other minerals capable of reacting to light and temperature, while others called it an ancient scientific relic, or even an object of ritual significance tied to divination or celestial observation. But amid all the splendor, the discovery that left the team speechless wasn't gold, cedar, or crystal. Tucked inside a clay jar at the rear of the chamber were brittle, carbon-darkened scroll fragments. The writing was delicate but undecipherable, not Hebrew, Aramaic, or Phoenician. Linguists initially suspected a Proto-Canaanite script, but later analyses revealed symbols and grammar patterns unseen in any known ancient language. Were these the writings of Solomon himself, composed in a secret or ceremonial dialect? Or records from a priestly order guarding his tomb centuries later? The fragment's mystery only deepened when early infrared scans revealed phrases that, loosely translated, spoke of a covenant beneath light and the return of the sealed wisdom. The relics had challenged every assumption about Israel's golden age, but the scrolls hinted at something even greater, a secret knowledge buried with the king, waiting to be unlocked. The scrolls of light and shadow. When linguistic specialists finally began deciphering the text, they found lines that spoke of voices of the wind and fire without flame, phrases unlike anything seen in known ancient Hebrew or Aramaic inscriptions. These poetic images hinted at a worldview where nature and spirit were intertwined in the king's quest for wisdom. Further examination revealed that some passages reference astronomical events, solar storms, strange eclipses, and celestial alignments that matched modern scientific data on solar radiation peaks thousands of years ago. The language suggested not just wisdom, but a king who claimed to interpret cosmological patterns as though he held knowledge of both sky and state. Among scholars, this raised a question. Was this simply metaphorical royal propaganda, or did it reflect a genuine tradition of advanced observation and recording? The discovery's implications grew stronger when a rare cedar ink pigment was identified on the scrolls, traced via spectroscopy to the forests of ancient Lebanon, once linked in legend to King Solomon's trade networks. This suggested the artifacts may indeed have belonged to Solomon's era and court culture. The fact that the scrolls survived in clay vessels implies someone in antiquity took care to hide and preserve them, perhaps anticipating danger or wanting to safeguard knowledge for later generations. For centuries, historians believed Solomon's recorded wisdom centered solely in the Book of Proverbs and other canonical texts. But these fragments, if authentic, add another dimension, a body of writing that appears esoteric, poetic, and scientific at once, a blend of cosmology, philosophy, and early state ritual. If the scrolls were part of Solomon's archive, they didn't simply celebrate wisdom, they warned of something he might have feared. The repeated references to fire without flame and voices of the wind hint at a legacy overshadowed by catastrophe or cosmic upheaval, not just mundane royal rule. Despite the excitement, verification remains incomplete. Material dating aligns roughly with the 10th century BCE, but script style mismatches and language anomalies mean full authentication will still take years. Until then, the fragments sit in a museum vault, framed by potential rather than certainty. If genuine, this find doesn't merely extend Solomon's legacy, it challenges our understanding of ancient Israel and its intellectual reach. What secrets lay buried in those clay jars, waiting for someone to listen to the wind and see the fireless flame? The door has opened into Solomon's hidden archives, but what happens when those answers begin to unsettle the foundations of history itself? The Seal of Silence. Archaeologists found traces of deliberate sealing inside the burial chamber, lintels fused with lime mortar, collapsed ceiling blocks stacked with calculated precision, and water-channeling grooves whose position suggested the space had been flooded and then sealed over millennia. The pattern did not align with simple tomb robbery. It pointed to a planned concealment. Some scholars now argue that Solomon's chamber was intentionally buried by priests who feared his writings revealed forbidden knowledge, or by rival states who sought to bury the memory of his reign and stop his cult from spreading. It wasn't just the physical evidence. Inscriptions on the walls, partially eroded, referenced a keeper of sealed covenants, and voices silent in the earth, hinting at a legacy that needed safeguarding. Powerful materials, cedar beams from Lebanon, gold leaf that matched treasures once attributed to Solomon's court, implied the tomb was built for someone of unparalleled rank. Yet even as these signs pointed to the king, his remains were absent, as though removed or relocated. Some historians suggest that after Solomon's death, his wisdom texts and temple records alarmed religious elites. Perhaps the articles he left behind were sealed away, hidden beneath layers of rock, so that only future seekers could rediscover them. Others proposed that the conspicuous burial site threatened rival powers, his temple builders' innovations, his control of trade, or even a forgotten scientific instrument may have been erased when surrounding kingdoms collapsed. The flooding grooves are among the strongest indicators of systematic erasure. If the tomb was once looted or exposed, flooding would wash away inscriptions and remove vessels. Then a second team might reseal the chamber to conceal its contents. The resulting rubble, layered with centuries of silt, created the illusion of a natural collapse. But beneath the debris lay one final, startling hint: a sealed clay jar inscribed with a phrase that translated to, "The covenant shall be opened in the day of return." The excavators realized they weren't simply uncovering a burial, they were unsealing a destiny. Whoever locked the tomb intended someone someday to find and to understand. The chamber had been hidden for millennia, but the inscriptions made it clear. King Solomon's story didn't end with death. It was meant to resurface. The legacy that would not die. The rediscovery beneath Jerusalem's ancient stones triggered more than headlines. It reignited a global fascination with the reign of King Solomon and the treasures of ancient Israel. Archaeologists, theologians, and historians scrambled to reassess the 10th century BC united monarchy, once thought myth or exaggeration. The find reshaped regional priorities. If Solomon's tomb really had emerged, then the hunt for the Ark of the Covenant, the foundations of his temple, and his famed mining operations took on fresh urgency. Universities launched new excavation projects in Hazar Megiddo and Gezer, cities the Bible says Solomon fortified, and satellite surveys turned their focus to desert mines and ancient trade routes once dismissed as legend. Some religious scholars embraced the discovery as proof that biblical accounts held deeper historical truth than previously believed. Others, more cautious, argued that this was not confirmation, but rather the beginning of a new chapter in an age-old mystery. Solomon might not only have existed, but his knowledge and power could have left far more than monuments. Tourism boomed in Israel and Jordan as visitors sought to retrace the king's footsteps. Exhibits showcasing the newly uncovered chamber, its artifacts, and the scroll fragments brought biblical history into the public imagination in ways textbooks never could. For decades, the story of Solomon had been dominated by his wisdom, temple, and riches. Now it included a buried legacy, a tomb hidden for millennia, waiting to reshape how we view ancient power. Yet skeptics remained active. Some argued that what was discovered might instead belong to a lesser monarch or a wealthy official, while potsherds and inscriptions could be misinterpreted. Academic debate moved into the public sphere, with documentaries exploring whether the find validated the biblical account or whether it introduced a more complex story. one that blends myth, memory, and mystery. Whatever the final verdict, one thing was clear: Solomon's influence had refused to fade. His story, once confined to scripture and legend, now stood at a new crossroads of archaeology, faith, and popular culture. The tomb did more than surface. It spoke across millennia, challenging assumptions, opening new questions, and igniting the sense that the past still has power over the future. The sands of time may have hidden Solomon's truth, but they could not silence it. If this discovery rewrites history, what other ancient secrets still wait to be unearthed? Share your thoughts in the comments below.